Trying to get a little boogly boogly today. What's going on, everybody? Got a little extra light. Oh, it gets really washed out if I go. Everyone's like, wow, Pete's like, he's a little extra loopy today. What's going on? Well, it's because I'm popping on so early. It's 9:40. I don't know what I'm thinking. I never come on this early. Better find out who's here. What's up, Fresh Montgomery? What's up, dude? I got a serious question for anyone that's watching right now. I was trying to do my tag, my music tag, and I'm like, it's not even there. It wasn't even on there. I'm like, is it too early to fucking listen to music? Is that even a thing? We're gonna be doing some music stuff here in a couple minutes. But right now, it's just me and my hat on backwards. Actually, we're gonna be interviewing someone that owns a studio that's gonna be talking shop about how people are recording right now and stuff like that. If you haven't come on before, that's what we do all the time. Sometimes we do music reviews. Sometimes we do chit chat. How'd you find us, dude? Are you looking for artists and stuff on You Now? I know they did they did some sort of or maybe this week they're doing like a whole festival of like talent. Are you tracking that at all? I've seen a couple of the people and I'm impressed. I like a lot of the covers that I'm listening to. I heard a Fleetwood Mac cover that I thought was really good. What's up, Tori? Let's bring you on. What's up, Llama? Hey, how come your picture's blue? Is that a thing? Or did you just change your picture? How'd you do that? I love it. I love it. What's going on? How'd you get that blue angel? I edited it myself. Edited it. Edited it. I don't know whether it's too much coffee or too little coffee, but I got this nice little sweet spot right now. At least it's sweet for me. For you guys, it's going to be shaking your head for the next 90 minutes, but it's all right. We'll get through it together. What's going on, everybody? Do I make beats? Like that kind of stuff? Tori's like, yo, dude, bring me on before you blow up this whole thing. Tori's like, you better bring someone on, dude. Yeah, I make some beats. I do freestyle. You're like, yo, bring me on.
Hello.
What's going on, Tori?
Happy Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Llama just told us that we've been partnered for a while.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Did she see your email and was like, why are they just now talking about this?
Well, it's a good question. I actually, the last 2 weeks, I've been thinking about bringing it up, and I just never did because we always had something else we were talking about. So I figured I would sort of make everybody knows is the irony. Like anyone that I sent an email out yesterday for kind of some of our regular viewers that swing by, and I was like, oh, by the way, we're partnering. Everyone's like, yeah, we know. It's like telling someone, oh, my birthday was like 2 weeks ago. Like, yeah, we all knew. What are you talking about, it?
Old news.
Kind of, yeah. But I guess I a little bit regretted like not mentioning it a little more publicly because you guys are the ones. It's like he's finally saying something.
We were just so busy. There's just so much other stuff to talk about. It kept getting.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I don't really buy that, honestly. I feel like it was just dropping the ball a little bit because I feel like that's an important thing. It's not. It's more of an important thing for the group more than us because I feel like I wanted to celebrate with everybody and let everybody know that like, wow, this is crazy. Like, you know, it's, I don't know. I feel like I missed that moment, but I still think it's amazing. And I feel like we're still figuring out what to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted it to be something that everyone feels like, cool, like we got partnered.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like I fucked up because like if I had done it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when we first found out, it would have been like, wow, that's crazy, which is what was running through my head. But again, like we've had just a bunch of stuff, new people on, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm super excited. For those of you that aren't looped in or aren't getting our emails quite yet or whatever, is it on our Discord? Did we say something on Discord? Meaning, did you put anything on our Discord?
No, but I can right now.
I mean, we'll put it up there. We'll put it up there. You'll get on that too, right? Yeah, like basically we this stream, this thing that Tori and I have been doing is a little baby. It's like a 12-week-old baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what's your feel on it right now, Tori?
It's just super exciting. It's like the fact that we got partnered, it's like they believe in what we're creating. It kind of like, I don't know, we thought we were creating something cool, but now it's also you now telling us, oh yeah, what you have is good, the community you have is good, like we like it and believe in it. And it's super cool, just kind of like validation. And so quickly.
Yeah. So Llama, you've been on, and thank you for swinging by and sharing. I talked to Kathy, my girlfriend Kathy, a lot about you after she was on for that stream that you did, and we were chatting a lot about it afterwards. Like it kept going through my mind, like all the stuff that I learned from talking to you. So that was really fun that you were on, and I feel like my brain sort of switched in the middle of that interview because I was, like it's almost like when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So when I was getting ready for that, I was like, cool, we're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about, like certain things that I was expecting that we're going to talk about. And then it was like, no, dude, like we're going to talk about how you've come up with this entirely new way of doing you now and creating music on the fly in a way that like really no other human being can do. And I'm like, in the middle of the interview or whatever you would call it, I'm like, wow, this is nuts. Like this is so, I was probably like fanboying you in the middle of the interview while I'm trying to like, I'm like, what's my next question? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to you right now.
I wasn't on the stream, so it's fine. I was fangirling behind the chat.
It was fun though. Awkward is good.
Did you see her Discord message? She had a dream song, like the night after.
You had a frog song? You had a dream song after that?
After our stream.
Nice. So we inspired you a little bit too. The circle continues. Llama, you want to swing on for a couple? We got like 10 minutes before some folks from Knoxville are going to swing through and tell us how they're doing their thing. You write raps? Fresh Montgomery? Man, I got beats all over the table right here, man. Literally. T is amazing. Oh, did you mean, I wasn't even sure. They're both amazing. I thought you were saying Tori, but maybe you meant T Montgomery too.
Check out his raps.
Yeah, come on in. So shall I wait for the hand to come up or should I just like rap? Rap.
Hi.
What's up?
Hello, she got the filter on again.
Yes, I love my filters. And I know, Peter, you love my filters too for the fact that I was a llama. So
That filter was like, I mean, I've never technically done LSD, but for those few moments, I felt like maybe this is something similar. It was like a very friendly,
yes.
like harmless little llama trip, and I'm like, wow, I'm loving this.
Yes.
What I thought made it work was like you have this sort of like deadpan, like yeah, and there's this llama, and your eyes are like, oh, it was awesome. Tell us about the song that you dreamt up after our live stream.
Okay, so
Thanks, Heidi.
How you know I'm in week right now, kind of whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Group. So they actually, I haven't been like during the weekends. I don't really do much with them. But when I had the dream, it was really weird because the picture that they had for that was actually a picture of treetops. And then the filter they used was like green, red, like all these different colors. And the funny thing is, I wrote this song before I saw this picture, before I even knew what the prompt was or anything. I didn't know anything of what they were doing because I don't really pay attention to much of what they do like during the weekends. Like I'm there sometimes, but I don't pay attention to much. So it was really, really crazy that I saw the picture. Let me see if I could just show you the picture of what I'm talking about.
So you dreamt basically.
I dreamt the picture, but I didn't see the picture. So it's I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's super lots of colors.
It's like it's cool. It's just a bunch of treetops and there's yellows, greens, blues, stuff like that. So the prompt that people pick, like they'll do a couple of sentences, whatever. I didn't see this prompt at all. I was asleep. Like I didn't read any of this. So it's the brightest light comes through the treetops. So light and even the darkest forest is what the prompt was. So my song is literally about Mayflower, and the tree Mayflower is actually a colorful, magical tree full of fairies. So it's literally, the song is about how it glows in the darkness to bring light. And it's very soft, the whispers, and there's fairies and all these like trolls and golems. They all come together with wishes to bring peace and love. So that was literally what my dream was. It was really weird.
Whoa.
That's not weird at all.
No, it's not real. It's not weird, but it's pretty insane because the fact that I didn't know what the picture was and I didn't know what the prompt was at all. I didn't know anything. So the fact that was that moment when I woke up and I was like, shit, like, what the hell? I was like, how the hell did I not know anything about the prompt and the picture? And then I was able to dream of that before even having like anything to do with it. So it's just crazy.
You manifested it.
Yeah.
What's up, Yuma? I haven't seen you in a little bit. Kareem, thank you for becoming a fan. We should connect you. Did you see the time that we had Tano on? This was like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
His girlfriend had said that he was like a manifester, like he will think of something and it will, like, he's very good at like thinking of things and then like making them come into reality.
Yeah, I'm like that too, but that's what my dreams, the dreams I have. Like,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy
and cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. It was just like bonkers. I was like messaging and I'm like, that's really strange because I actually had that image in my head when I was dreaming. And it was really strange. Like, I was like, I've never even looked at the picture at all.
Do you remember your dreams like 100% of the time? Like,
oh yeah,
wake up. Okay.
Yeah, instant. Like,
relate.
Yeah, instant. How I felt.
Tori?
No. What the weather was like, the voices that are in the area that I'm at. Like, I can, like, honestly, if I close my eyes, I can actually picture certain things that I did. But other than that, like, some of the things that are like not so important, they just go away. But the things that are the key points in the dream are still there. Like the main things that I was focusing on, other than the things I wasn't focused on. So it's crazy.
When you write music, do you prefer to write at like certain time of day?
No, it doesn't matter.
Really?
It can be any time. Yeah, whatever comes to me. Honestly,
Just gotta write it then and there.
I gotta do it there. Like
That's how she has 60-some songs.
That's true. Any new ones? You said you got the frog song. What else?
Well,
you got?
I have. Well, that one's about my friend, my one friend. His name is Sunray. He's on here. He's a lonely toad, is what we call him. So I wrote a lonely toad song. But I have a new song from today. Well, it's from yesterday. It's called "Ocean Out of the Ocean," and it's actually about fairies and stuff like that. Same thing, like wishes and stuff. So I kind of like I said, I connect my songs from one, and then I collect those certain words, and I put it in another song. So they're
like worlds, right? They're like characters. Do you ever have the same characters like pop up in multiple songs?
Not really. Not really. I mostly put some of the stuff about me. Like I'll bring some stuff that are about me. Like I wrote a story about a demon following me and stuff like that, which is real life. I actually had multiple dreams about that. And some of them come to reality, but we won't talk about those. But
those are less fun dreams.
Yeah, the dreams that you don't really care about, but they actually are very terrifying, and they're called real dreams. So you actually experience them in real life as well as if you're dreaming. So
right.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys want to hear Out of the Ocean, I could play that one for you. I'd be like, and then
let's do it. You got your axe? Or you want to just play it?
Yeah, let me get my ukulele. I left it out there.
She's always ready for a performance.
She's like, yeah, actually I have it right here. Funny enough.
Like a sword.
It's good to see you guys here. What's up, Annie? I saw you pop in there. Auralation is hanging out in the green room. Paul, you're the man, dude. Good to see you hanging out. We'll bring you in a
I heard what you said, Tori. Yeah, I like to perform a lot.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so perfect for being a streamer too.
Yeah, I try. I try to be a streamer. So some days I feel off, but other days I'm fine. Okay, so this is called Out of the Ocean. I kind of just put music back onto it this morning, so I don't know how well it will sound, but we'll see.
Fresh track.
Okay. Out of the ocean, very into deep. Throw a corn for a wish. Want to spawn in the sea by the willow tree. I look to the stars full of birds, so high in the sky of sound. We love with wings, like sparkling like butterflies. Beautiful, wild, free. We are here, don't you see? Fly as a fairy to the waters, wishing, dreaming, be more than we can be, don't you see? Make a wish in the dark sea, flying so high. Yeah, I'm just a fairy. There you go.
That sounds awesome.
Thanks.
Did you notice that like her ears were like actually going
Like,
time?
my ears dance
like,
when I play music.
Yeah.
It added
Like they
to the
can
whole
can
vibe.
actually hear.
I can hear everything.
Llama, that's
I
like,
felt
I
transported
love
to
that
like
song.
another world with that song.
Yeah. And you feel like you're out of the song and you're just like, now you're just going exploring the story. It's like, where is this fairy going?
Exactly.
And
Yup.
do I have to put this coin in the water so I get magical something? Like, yeah, you go away from your body and you're like, ooh, what's going on
Such
here?
good storytelling.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks.
I loved it as well. I like the speed of it. I like the tempo of it.
Mhm.
I feel like it complements your voice really nicely. I can hear more of your singing when it's a little slower tempo.
Yeah.
You have a great voice.
Thank you. I try.
No, you don't. I think
So
that's
humble.
part of what makes it sound so good.
So much practicing.
Well, you sing all the time, but you don't.
Oh yeah, I sing all the time, but you know. Yeah.
No, it sounds awesome. I love it.
Thanks.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So it's good to have you guys coming in. I'm gonna bring Paul on. Thank you for playing some music for us, Llama,
Always.
and
Yeah,
popping
what a
in.
great surprise pre-show.
Pre-show.
I
A
love
little
this
warm
starter.
up. Are you doing any of the like performances that are going on the rest of the week? Are you doing anything that you want to like?
So Friday's packed. Friday's packed. I have music festival for you now at 1 o'clock.
When does that start? Like overall, yours
It's
is at
Friday,
1.
right?
It's on Friday, yes.
Okay.
I don't know the schedule yet, and I don't know the lineup. I just know I'm at 1 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And then 6 p.m. Eastern as well on Friday, I have my audition for The Voice.
What?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that. Are you doing virtual auditions?
So I'm in the virtual open call on Friday, yes.
Nice.
Oh my God, that's amazing! Congratulations.
Thank you. So I after that they have to accept or deny. If I get accepted, then I get a flight to LA for the blind auditions. If I do not, I'll just check it off my list and be like, oh well, that's off my bucket list.
So what song are you allowed to tell us what song?
I was thinking "Human" by Christine Perry, and I was gonna play on the ukulele. If not, then I don't know what to be, because I've been trying to figure out for 2 weeks. I have no idea. That's literally all I know to do.
What about the what's that cover that I heard you do? Cage the Elephant.
Oh yeah, Wicked. Ain't no rest for the wicked.
Ain't no rest for the wicked. I love that cover.
Yeah,
because it's so different than the original the way you do it.
Yeah,
It's sneaky.
It is sneaky.
It's really sneaky. I like it.
How
I don't
exciting!
know.
Keep us updated.
Yeah, I will.
That's absolutely amazing.
I
Okay,
so want you to get on just so you'll be in LA, and then
Yeah.
we can meet in person.
Yeah, honestly, if they don't turn, or if I don't get accepted in any way, like I just be a part of it, because I've been told to do it multiple years, and everyone's like, do the voice, and I'm like, I don't know, I feel like insecure because of the fact that I don't know what they would say, and honestly, I don't care anymore. So I just want to do it just to check it off.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're on at 1 p.m. on Friday for the festival.
The You Now
Festival. How do we find it? Where is that on?
So they're supposed to they're supposed to have a lineup, and so we get 25 to 30 minutes. We do 3 songs, I think. No, 3 or 4 songs. So I picked 2 originals and 2 covers. And then yeah, we just tell whoever goes next. So we just say, okay, well, everyone, this person's next, and go to their stream. So
it goes from stream to stream. It goes from stream. You host it, and it just goes round robin like that. There's no one single channel where everything happens.
Exactly. We all just stream at our time, and then we just go and tell the next people to go. Yeah,
that sounds amazing. I wish we knew. I didn't know all the details about it.
But Part is doing.
What is it?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
7,000 is doing it. I don't know do they have a time slot yet? I don't think they knew the last time.
They come on ours, so 11:30 Pacific.
Okay, yeah.
11:30 Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. So it's right after ours. Anyway, Llama, good luck. We'll I'm gonna jot down that we're gonna come check you guys out on at 1 p.m. So we can just go to your channel at 1 p.m. Wait, is that 1 p.m. EST?
That's Eastern, yeah. So
Oh no!
So you're
That's right
3.
when we are.
Yeah, I know.
Is it
Well,
for
we'll
now?
send you some good mojo at 3 o'clock.
For 30
which is gonna be
minutes.
6 o'clock your time.
What is it?
We're gonna send you some good mojo at 3 o'clock our time
Okay.
for your audition.
And if
That's
you,
amazing.
I have a couple friends who auditioned and were on The Voice. So if you want me to connect you, I don't know if that would help or not help. But
I'm connected with Keith. He also was on The Voice. He was top 10. Brent Morgan, he's Brent O'Bean, who's also on The Voice. Jeremiah, I've been friends with those everyone so much. So like we connect so well. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to. I'll just have a lot more people that I know that are in The Voice. so.
Paul, you want to bring your voice story on and have these lovely ladies on here with you for a sec? Let's do this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Paul?
loading.
Oh, it's exciting. Yeah.
Whoa,
Look
you got that fish eye, bro.
I like
Wait,
that.
watch this. Wait a minute. Here we go. Woo!
Hi.
Oh, check it out. I love it. See?
Oh, that's
That's so cool.
Multicam, dude. He's like, oh, watch this. Pow, 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 pow.
I know, right?
It's my iPad.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Mind blown.
What an entrance.
Right?
He's like, ta-da!
Ta-da.
The Wizard of Oz has shown.
So,
Tell us your voice story.
so about 3 years ago, a guy on my worship team, we went down to the local square to just have some, just talk about his life. He wasn't really doing much with himself. A great vocalist, amazing, and kind of a good songwriter, but he wasn't doing anything. And so I sat down with him. We bought some ice cream and we were just sitting there talking. I said, brother, listen, you have got to get it together. You got all these great ideas. You're not doing anything. What are you doing with yourself? He goes, well, I want to make some songs. I want to do some things. And I said, man, you have got to do something. He goes, yeah, man, I got a voice audition. I'm going to audition for The Voice next week. I said, yeah, but whatever, man. Listen, after that, you have got to do something. Well, that was Chris Blue, winner of season 12.
Nice.
He was on our worship team for many years, and I just have always laughed at that moment because I was like, whatever, dude, fine, get that issue. But after that, what are you going to do? And it really was an incredible experience. I mean, we got to walk with him through day one, from when he did the audition to the callbacks, and then it started. Hey man, I can't be on Sunday. They're gonna fly me out there. It's like, oh crap, here we go. Then as it got closer, we started having watch parties at the church, and hundreds of people would come, and we'd be cheering him on. And then, I mean, it was the final night. 800 people packed into our church room and watching him win, and the screaming and the yelling, and his family down there, and his family it was really an amazing experience. So good luck with your audition. I mean, I just always laugh at that when I hear people say I'm going to audition for The Voice. Like, I'm never saying anything again, because you never know what's going to happen.
You never know. Do you remember how did he pick his song? You know any of the backstory how he picked the songs for his audition?
He has a gospel background, and he sang in churches all his life. And one of the reasons he came to our church was the guy who was mentoring said, you need to go over to Paul's church and get unchurched, because we do a lot of secular tunes as well, for features and things like that. And he had never sung a rock tune in church before, and it freaked him out. And so his background was gospel music, and so he was trying to find that meld of a little bit of a gospel sound, a little bit of a pop sound. He did some, like one of his best things was this Smokey Robinson, Tears of a Clown. He sang a little bit of everything, a lot of Alicia Keys tunes, a lot of things like that. So he really went with, it wasn't a wide open field for him. He really stuck with what he knew and what was good for him. Yeah. And it gave him some unique choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably sort of like distinguished him. When you've got a sound and you know your voice and you know your style, it can sort of like carve out a little niche for you, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it really did.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now, it's very funny that during one of the, what do they call it, the battle rounds, we saw him shove the other guy out of the way. He swears he didn't do it, but we saw him reach over and give the push.
It was the Holy Spirit. It wasn't him. It was the Holy Spirit saying, this is the right thing.
It was a holy shove right there. He was like, get the hell out of the way.
Oh my God.
I'm coming in.
That's awesome.
So good luck with the audition, man. I hope it goes well.
Yeah. We'll see.
Excited
What
for you.
songs are you thinking about for your audition? Do you have any that you're sort of like toying around with in your head?
So just the human one. I guess let's try. Like my friend Michael Lee, he was also on The Voice. He's on here as well, streams all the time. He actually told me today that I should do more of like a guy song because you can change the song a bit. Like Ain't the Rest for the Wicked is a male band. So like I could do that song and change it up a bit. It's just a little like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little fast for me. I don't even know. Honestly, I think fast songs work, but that one, it just has like a milkshake of words.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like he scrunches them all together.
He crunches it up, he puts it in a little bag and he throws it away, but it's like so quick of how quickly that goes. And it's just like, I don't know. That's why I kind of pick human because like, I don't know. It is a female voice that sings it, but I have ukulele and I don't know what else to pick, honestly. So,
dude, if you want to practice or do anything, if we can help at all between now and Friday, if you want to just do a run and have us listen or anything like that.
Yeah.
If it would just get the nerves out, or if you'd rather just do it on Friday first time, sometimes that's best too. But like, I just think that's amazing. Like to Paul's point, you never know.
True.
Oh yeah, you never know.
Exactly.
Or even if for some reason they pick someone else for the audition, maybe someone in that room hears you and goes, God, like she'd be perfect for this thing that I'm working on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? I mean, you just never know. So
yeah.
You know, I would honestly, my advice, I did play for a guy who went to Nashville and auditioned, and this guy was a great singer. He got in and I think he over practiced songs that he didn't know well. He tried to sing that Phil Phillips Home. Is that it? Yep. He sang that and he stumbled on a line. And when he did that, the woman watching him shut her book. It was over. It was done. One mistake, it was done. My advice: pick something you know really, really well that you can wear like a great sweater, and don't try something that you've never done before, because he worked so hard on that, and the first stumble was like, you're gone, you're done.
You're done. Yeah, That's why it's really hard with the producers, because they're picking people that they believe that should be at the blind auditions to like wow them or not. Sometimes they waste their times and thinking like, wow, that person's really good. But when they get there, they don't get turned or anything. But at least they got kind of noticed. So,
yeah.
So I don't know what to do.
Well, good luck, Llama, and let us know. Like, I mean, it's 48 hours away, but if there's anything you feel like we can do, or if you want us to just kind of listen to a run or something like that, just know how to catch us.
Yeah, always.
Send us an email or hit up Tori, and I'll work around it. Promise.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'll let you guys hang out and watch. See you, Tori. Or you want to hang out? You want to hang?
No, my boss just called me, so let me see.
Oh,
yeah.
I think Colton's in there with us.
Oh, beautiful. I didn't realize. Okay.
There he is.
Thank you, sir. Colton, what's up? Thank you for hanging, Llama.
Yo.
What's up, Colton?
What's going
on? How the
on?
cloth is going. Yeah, not bad. You see, mine's just like beyond the beyond. It's like I'm tagging out.
Yeah.
There's a point where it takes up the whole.
Mine's getting there.
What are you doing with this like camera stuff? Paul's out of control today.
I don't think we're going to be able to really. I'm not going to be able to talk because I just can't stop switching the shots.
Yeah, it'll just be like, what was that thing? It's just rotating through. When Paul gets a new toy, it's like, watch out.
But this shot, and so when things are going, you just go, ah! See, I love this.
T used all of his likes on this, so thank you very much, my man. Appreciate it. We got some good people here today, as usual. I just want to kind of like take a quick peek. So Yuma's coming in from a studio called Bauer in Germany. Tori. T is a rapper artist.
Yeah.
Looking for beats, open for inspiration, it sounds like.
Listen, Colton's
Llama.
got some sick beats. He hates it when I say it like that because I sound like a grandma. Got some sick beats there, young man.
Got some sick beats.
But you need to check out some CX3 beats from Colton, man. It's pretty cool stuff.
Do you guys have a library, like a hip hop library, like for licensing?
He's on all the top sites: MySpace, AOL, Beatmaker.
Wow.
No, I'm just no. That's all
these are big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he was at that level.
Yeah. I don't like to talk
Wow.
about it, you know. I don't want to blow myself up.
Like he's top ranking on Yahoo. I mean, the guy is he is a top contender for.
You still have your beats? You still have your beats out there, Colton?
No, I took most of them down.
Oh well, then there you go.
Yeah.
Then I lied.
That's what the real producers do.
I'm using they're being used for other things.
So check this out, you guys appreciate this. Goda is a producer who's based in Mexico, and he emailed me this morning. Appreciate it, dude. He's in as well, and he's like, oh, so bummed out to hear about East West not working out, but like you came through and you made it work. I'm like, I didn't come through. You guys came through last minute. I'm on the phone with Paul at 9:30 your time. I'm going, hey, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And you're like, let's do it.
I'm just hanging out.
Thank you guys for jumping in for round 2.
I'm sorry for disappointing. We're not from East West, but we're from South. I don't know.
From Southeast?
East Tennessee.
Yeah, it's kind of it's East Tennessee. I think it was in the middle. It's in the middle of everything.
Thank you, Goda. Thank you for the support, dude. Goda's got an interesting situation that I'll mention just because it might be something that you guys could speak on, or I think from what I got from your email last week, there's some sort of a scholarship or a fund that you're applying for to kind of retroactively add the ability to do live streaming at your studio. Is that true? So that's just one. I mean, that's just one additional angle. Is like you never know when, you're going to be able to get support for adding things. I think I'm allowed to talk about this. I have a sort of I guess it's not a public interview, but I'm being interviewed by someone at the Department of Commerce next week.
Nice.
About kind of like what people in the music space are doing to move forward, to pivot into whatever the new normal is going to be. It's a Santander Bank contest. Got it. So the bank is it sounds like it's funding some sort of okay, we'll help you pay for this if you can sort of, but there's some application process, right, Goda? And you probably have to say like, I know what I'm doing. This is my vision. This is what I think I'm going to be able to provide for people. So these guys, I mean, pretty much of everyone that I've spoken to, okay, so good. So this is great for you because I don't know of another commercial studio that I've spoken to. I mean, East West has done a couple of cool things between, March and now. But I know some other studios that are rolling things out, but I feel like you guys have done more than almost anyone else I've spoken to. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring you guys on again is I feel like we sort of teased a couple of things when you guys were on a week ago or so. And what I wanted to do is for those of you that got my email last night, I reread it and I'm like, wow, I sounded kind of worried in that email, but I am.
He was drinking.
Yeah, I shouldn't, be, second glass of wine and then send an email. I'm worried that a lot of studios, particularly smaller and mid-sized studios, and probably some larger studios, are going to have a real tough time the next 6 to 12 months. I think there's going to be studios that are going to have a hard time staying open. There's going to be studios that have to make some very difficult decisions about staff, about all sorts of shit that is the sort of negative side of why I'm thrilled to have you guys on. The positive side is you guys are very open-minded and experimental and have made, I think, a positive transition into this space. You've also been pretty lucky to have be located in a city that's unusually functioning right now. So tell us a little bit, for those of us that aren't in Knoxville, and I don't think there's anybody on here that's in Knoxville, what is the situation like as a functioning studio in Knoxville right now?
Colton, go.
Well, I mean, we're lucky to have a lot of TV work, scoring and writing for TV, and that's keeping us busy. As far as like actual sessions and working with artists, I haven't done any of that since March. It's
Now,
all been.
You were doing a ton, right? I mean, you were having people in all the time. I was having trouble getting in with you.
Yeah, before all this, yeah. And that's kind of come to a stop now, but we have TV, so.
Why do you think it stopped?
Well, one, my time. I mean, I haven't been looking for people since we have so much to do with writing. And two, I mean, I don't think they have extra income right now like they normally would to be able to spend on a studio. And then a lot of people are still really weird about just being around other people.
Yeah. So does that mean you've actually had an uptick in that TV and production work since March?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I have, yeah.
Okay. Now, this may be a stupid question, but those are my favorite. Why did that happen? Why would there have been an uptick in your work during the pandemic period? Do you think?
I'm waiting to see if he's going to answer that.
I don't know.
Right?
Well, I think for us,
Paul?
I think for us, I mean, back in, let's see, in July of 2018, we were in a space that was more of a MIDI environment. We had some MIDI rooms. We had a voiceover room. We didn't have any tracking rooms like that. So we were in like a 12th floor of a nice building that overlooked downtown, and we could do small sessions with people. So if you had maybe if you had an insurance commercial, we could play acoustic guitar and have a session with you and have some live musicians. And we had singers and things like that, but no place to track drums or anything like that. So in 2018, we moved into a large studio space. It's a killer space. So we started trying to focus on, now we're going to track bands. Now we're going to be kick-ass. We're going to track bands, and it's just going to be sexy, and everything's going to be great. So we started down that road. We had a 18-piece, the Knoxville Jazz Orchestra came in and recorded. I mean, we were just kicking butt. So we were pushing less on trying to find non-band things. We were just letting those things come in as they came in. As this all started to happen, and we didn't change any of our stuff, but the band thing just tanked, and the TV stuff started. It really was just, I would just call it the commercial stuff started to build because of, we're here for you. We need to change the spot. We're here for you at so-and-so, at so-and-so restaurant and so-and-so in insurance. I'm trying not to say all the brand names.
Yeah, yeah.
They needed to change all of their stuff. So
in other
started.
Words, they had sort of an older or sort of not a very effective ad that was really bland. And they knew it. And so they were coming in and bringing something to you guys and going, I don't think this is working for us. We probably need something new.
Well, they were in emergency modes. One of them was a fast food place.
At that time, right. They had
because their commercials needed to say, hey, our insides are closed, drive-thrus are open, curbside's available. All that started. Then our podcast, and we got 2 big fat podcasts that came in right at that time. And they just kind of exploded. And, all of a sudden now we're getting TV mixing work, and I don't know. It's just weird. They just happened on top of each other. But we're also starting to focus more now on music production for our library. So I think I said this last time. I'm not so concerned about filling up the 50 an hour, 40 hours a week as I am. We need to generate 100 new music beds to put in the library because we're going to get more traction out of that.
Right. So you were already doing. Sounds good, Annie. Thank you for swinging in. It's good
Bye,
seeing
Annie.
you again.
See ya.
So you were already doing commercials beforehand.
Oh yeah. We've been probably half our before the tracking room. All of our business was commercial business, writing music for commercials and small films and things like that. Gotcha.
So you just had an uptick of local companies that were like, we need an updated commercial. That was something that kind of helped. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you reach out to any of them, or did they all just kind of hit you up because you were the you were the studio in town that was kind of known for that.
They came to us. They were coming to us and, hey, can we do it? I mean, there was when nobody else was working, we were barely keeping up. We're trying to get everything pushed through the door. Now that's all starting to relax. Now that the restaurants are opening up, I just now have a brand new, we were writing music for these commercials quarterly. We haven't done that for this last quarter. Now we're starting to put the estimates out for spots coming up because now the stores are opening back up. Right. Dining rooms are opening in restaurants, so now they can start advertising again. So
right.
So that's starting to get better.
Probably a second wave. There'll be like a second wave of sort of non-emergency commercials that are kind of like, okay, moving into the second. Here's what we're offering you now.
Right. We're starting to see that. And then television programs are starting to produce again, which means they're shooting now, producing now, which means in a couple more weeks, we'll start to see shows to mix.
Yep. Do you guys have any? So here's my plan for the next half hour. For those of you that are kind of watching, I just want to kind of gather some ideas that you guys can use if you're a creator, if you're a studio owner, if you're trying to roll out something in terms of services or live stream, anything that you can offer from a kind of recording musical space to help, generate some business for you, or at least generate maybe even some clients if they come in and do a freebie first or something like that. So if you guys have any, if you have any questions about things that you want to, ask for the application. If any of you guys, Iding, I don't know if you're an artist, if you want to ask anything about, smart ways to create content. These guys have been really effective at Yuma. If you have any questions for Bauer, if any of you guys have any questions, Llama, if you have any questions on ways to record or create libraries for any of your things. I think, incidentally, you creating some little, not EPs or albums, but little libraries of sounds for the stories that you tell could be an interesting way to do what you do. But if you guys have questions, absolutely write them out there. And
we love questions. Love questions.
Yes. So tell us about Discovery in Knoxville and what role that's played for you guys in terms of, long-term, like over the last couple of years and more recently in Knoxville.
Knoxville several decades ago was making some very small cable programs for the national networks and things like that. And then Home and Garden Scripps Networks came in and came in with Home and Garden Television, DIY Network, Food Network. They were doing well for 10 or 12 years or however long it was. And then Discovery came in and bought them, which is just crazy. Like, why would you do all that and move it to Knoxville? But the infrastructure is here for them. We have great shooters and directors and production companies and all that's here. So there's this infrastructure for Discovery to be here and a great facility that they could do the broadcasting from. And so, all that's here in Knoxville. And Discovery's been a big help for us. We've been able to hook up with the smaller production companies in town that are making things for ID Network, a lot of the crime shows, murder shows, things like that. We do a ton of those. So we're in with those local production companies, and then we're starting to provide some music to Discovery for their library. And that's just been a huge, huge help. And it's been something, Colton and I have talked lots about this. I mean, we love having bands in, but after they hand you that $50 for that hour, that $75 for that hour, we're going to spend it and we're not going to have anything left. But we take that hour and we make a couple pieces of music. Now we have something that's long-term that's going to last us for years that hopefully will generate rather than just going for the hourly rates. And it's tough because, there is that gap where, it's great, but that piece of music has to get played and then it's 9 months later before your royalty comes in and you got to eat between now and then. So how do you find that gap? And we're kind of getting in that place where I think we're living in the gap right now. Would you agree with that, Colton?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, listen, he's got the low voice on. Yeah, we're in the gap.
That sounds
yeah,
right.
Gap season.
It's gap season.
Do you think, for people that haven't necessarily built a library like you guys have, a library meaning, collections of songs by style or mood that people can say, oh, I need a, scary track right here for when, the person's running away, or I need something for the love scene or whatever. So you've got libraries that you've built. And then you also have score that you'll do for a particular scene or a particular film or a particular ad. For someone that's moving into this space more or less for the first time and hasn't done a lot of it, do you think it's easier for someone to come up with something original, bespoke for a particular project, or go ahead and just start a little library and have that be their first dip, sort of dip in the water?
I'd pick something that you're totally, totally interested in, and instead of, I mean, I think there was a time where people would try to pitch their music to music supervisors by saying, okay, I love The Walking Dead, so I'm going to write music that sounds like The Walking Dead, and then I'm going to send it to the music supervisor. Well, the music supervisor already has scored music. He's got a guy scoring that show already. The music supervisor is looking for songs, and so for making production music, that doesn't work very well. What's better is, listen, I love making dramatic, cinematic score, so I'm going to make 25 of these things. Now I've got a package of those and pitch that out. I wouldn't go for a show or something, but I would go for a style. I like this, and so now I'd put that out. With websites the way they are, man, I think with some good SEO, you can host it yourself. You don't have to sell it to a third party. You can make some income off of it. You got to decide. Well, there's a whole conversation about how many libraries to have, and do you want to do royalty-free libraries and things like that? But that's that's some deep. That's a 3-beer conversation right there.
Yeah. Well, and Tori had mentioned too. Like, I think for people that maybe haven't necessarily sat in the seats you guys are in, where you're trying to make a studio monetize and do well, you don't realize. And also, I think you guys are much more. You have a lot more revenue streams than the average studio. Is that fair?
I think so, yeah. We set the studio up to have a kind of its own revenue stream to pay for its own bills. It's taken a long time to get there, but if there were no sessions for 4 months, we could pay the rent, pay the cable, pay for a whole bunch of apps that we don't even know that we have, right? Because everybody has that. You get that. You subscribe to 25 different apps, and after a while, you're wondering why you're paying $400 for all these apps that you're not using. We could pay for all that, and we'd be okay. Now we eat a lot of ramen noodles, but that's okay. But the studio,
how did you do that? Tell us how you did that.
Because we made a publishing company for the studio. So the studio is its own publishing company. So what's nice is that when Colton and I have a piece of music that ends up on the air, we get the writer's share and the studio gets the publishing share. So the studio has its own little publishing, revenue stream, and it holds it up. It takes some of the pressure off so that we can do some of the strange things that we like to do.
What's the name of the publishing company?
Auralation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you made, and how long was that? A couple years ago you did that?
We've had that since 2010, 2011.
Oh, so you've had that for almost
for a while.
decade.
Yeah, right. Well, so
and what was the first thing you did with that publishing company? Like, what was the first content you made for it?
Crime shows. Well, we really started. Do you want the whole? I mean, I don't know if you don't want.
I really do, because I feel like this is what's valuable for people that are watching. Is like, well, what do I do with that? How do I start?
Okay, I have 3 words that everybody's going to probably, everybody will start screaming when I say these words, right? And so don't yell at me for bringing these 3 words up. But let's talk about work for hire. Oh, yeah. So for years and years since I was a young lad, I did work for hire. As a composer, I would get with a production company and write music for a show. And then I would turn over all my ownership and publishing to the production company that we were working with. It was great because they were paying us, right? I mean, so they'd pay you
a check, and you feel excited
I
about
got
that.
$1,500 for writing 40 minutes of music for a crime show. That was great. And then that music would air, and I would get my writer's share. But the publishing would either go to the network or would go to the production company, and that was 50% I would never enjoy. But it was great. But around 2008, 9, 10, the idea of scoring per episode went away, and the production companies started going, I tell you what, I'll pay you. Now, this sounds crazy. I'll give you, let's say, $10,000 to write 250 pieces of music. And then you'll just write them for the show, and then we're done, right? Well, so yeah, man, 10 grand. I'm not turning that down, right? We still get our writers. That sounds pretty good. Except that music, if we'd written it per episode, well, 1,500, 2,000 episode, that's almost 10, 15,000 less than we would have gotten per episode. And season 2, we won't get paid again. So
because they're going to repurpose that music indefinitely for the series.
Right. So and then you don't get the publishing. So we were like, okay, that's all right, but we did that a couple times. We were like, yeah, but there's still not a longevity here for this, because although we're getting some writer share, we're still giving up some of it. So then 2010, I said, tell you what, we're going to write our own music. We're going to enjoy the writer share and the publishing share. And for a smaller fee, we will license this music to this show, that show, this other show, your season 1, your season 2, your season 3. And at first, it was small to start with, but then the snowball started to happen, and write once, air it over and over again all over the place. And that's really how we did it.
Did they have an issue with that non-exclusive deal that you wanted to have with the music?
No, I mean, if you want exclusive, then pay for it. But this is crime show music, and we would tailor. I mean, now everything I'm about to say sounds like I lied about what I said a minute ago. We would tailor it for a show. Like, we kind of knew what this one show was about. It had a certain theme, so we wrote a whole bunch of stuff based on that.
Inspired by the mood.
Inspired by, yeah.
Sure.
And they liked it, and we held on to it for a little bit. So we didn't spread it everywhere at first. We're like, hey, put it in your show, hang on to it, keep it here for a long time. And then after a while, we release it into the library.
So you're getting less upfront in terms of the revenue, but over a period of a couple of years, you're probably getting more.
Right, and then that music can be used everywhere. Now it can be used worldwide. It can be picked up. Yeah, it can be picked up anywhere.
Right.
And we're starting to see strange things. I mean, things that we wrote 10 years ago got picked up last season in a backstory on American Idol. Like, well, that was weird, but for some reason they liked the piece of music and it got picked up.
Do you think, though, if people are doing sort of the model that you just described, that it would still make sense for people to do that upfront fee first, just to get a sense of the deal flow and kind of what people need and get some cash coming in? Or do you think
tough to get that anymore. It's very tough to get that anymore. It's hard. You can get it for like a theme, theme packages and things like that, and you can get a little seed money to get it going. But the networks have all figured all this out. They're doing their own libraries. So some networks are going, hey, listen, make the show for us, but you got to use our libraries, because the networks will make money on the back end of that as well. So you got to sort of bust into that.
But do they really don't they end up turning around and outsourcing that anyway to people like you to make their own library in-house?
Well, I mean, they can do that, but they still will make more money on it. I mean, think about it.
Sure, because they own it.
Right. It's their own show.
It's exploiting it throughout.
And they're airing it everywhere and everywhere.
Yep.
TV producers and music. How did I get in touch with TV producers and music directors? I really went through production companies because. Wait a minute. Does anybody else hear that?
No.
It's all in your head, Paul. Don't even worry about it.
I have some crazy drumming going on in my head
right now. You got some drumming in your head?
I got to tell you.
Sound like?
That was really bizarre, and it scared me. Now I was afraid something bad was happening.
I sent it into your brain straight away, and I'm like, I wonder if he's going to hear this. Yeah.
It was Groove Agent by Steinberg. It all of a sudden started. I don't understand why. So Yuma, I feel strongly about this too. I mean, if you're working on, let's talk about The Walking Dead for a minute. If you want to get music into The Walking Dead, your probably best bet is to be a independent artist who does songwriting and try to get the music in, like in those places where they use pop music, or songs with lyrics and things like that. Other than that, though, we go through the production company, because who's putting our music in is the video editor. That poor guy or girl who's working till 3 a.m., who's just really just pissed off. It's 2 a.m. They can't find a piece of music. They're going through their drives. They're looking at our titles and they're dragging stuff in. That's who's putting our music in. And if you can get a video editor to dig what you're doing and to make a library that your titles sound good, your titles make sense, your content is good, they're easy to edit. If you can get that video editor to like what you're doing, they'll keep dropping your stuff in over and over and over again. Because I really don't think it's the network, and I don't think it's the producer. The producer might have some say in it, but it really is that video editor that's going in every episode and trying to find great music to edit to, music that's easy to use, that sounds good, that's comfortable to the ear, that you can spend 6 hours listening to while you put this episode together.
Yep. Rizzieri, thank you for the likes, brother. If you have any questions for these guys, do you guys ever play Spanish language music? Rizzieri's coming in from Chile.
Nope, I don't. I mean, I'd love to, but we don't.
Yep. So as far as libraries, you mentioned crime show as being one of those genres that you kind of leaned into early on.
Yep.
What are some genres that you think right now, if someone were like, okay, we're going to build a library, you never know if a library is going to take or not, but what would be some libraries you say, you know, if I was doing it and starting today, I would probably do one or two or three. What are some good libraries that you think would work?
You mean genres for libraries?
Yeah, styles, descriptors, moods, anything, however you want to categorize it.
I mean, I think reality TV is not going anywhere. We want it to. We wanted the pandemic to kind of wipe it out, right? Because we're tired of seeing it all. But I don't think that's going anywhere. So the backstory, whether it's in a crime show or an American Idol or The Voice, or it's in a detective show, or it's in a competition show, there's always a backstory. Hey, I'm from Delaware. Hey, I'm from here. My family grew up here. That is a very popular style, and it's a laid back, non in your face, but sometimes positive, sometimes neutral, sometimes, or if it's crime show, it's again, it's not scary. It's just this neutral kind of, let me tell you the story. Let me tell you what's happened. Let's time travel back a little bit.
Yep.
Backstory. We find a lot of that. And people are looking for that all the time. Feel good acoustic stuff. Absolutely.
For commercials or
anything.
For anything. Reality.
Anything. Yeah. When somebody wins the end of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Hey, we had The Bachelorette in our studio not long ago. It was really weird. It was the weirdest thing I've ever been through. She's crazy. I can't remember her name. Is she on here? She was crazy. They came in and made out in our studio for a long time. It was really weird. Like the dude was doing the hometown visit, and he was from Knoxville, and so his hometown visit was to bring her here and to write a song for her. And
were they? I'm assuming they were filming the whole thing.
Yeah, they filmed the whole thing.
And
they were
go ahead and make out. Go ahead and make out. Yeah.
So there was a guy, and his job was to go like this about every 10 minutes, which meant for them to make out. Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough gig.
I was so uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable. We sold the couch afterwards. It was
for
crazy.
Everybody, the guy, them, you.
Yeah. Hannah, what? Right? Was that her name? Hannah something?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was all really strange. What was it talking
Stories.
About? Backstory.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and you win the end of The Bachelorette, and everything's happy. And Hannah B, that was it. Yeah.
Tori's like, I don't ever watch that show, but I think it was Hannah B.
Crazy. Of course, crime shows. I mean, people are killing each other, and they are making shows about it. So crime shows are big. They really are.
Let me go ahead.
I think that if you were a beat producer, maybe doing hip hop and things like that, I'd strip every vocal out of it, and I'd just take those beats and I'd put them out because people want that. They really do want it.
Yep. So you mentioned something a couple of minutes ago that kind of surprised me a little bit. I wanted to unpack it. You said,
"Oh God."
Well, I mean, again, I just want to hear like your sort of thinking process for it. So when you have music that isn't with a publisher and isn't recognized as a reliable source of music, where the copyrights are taken care of and it's a known quantity and all those things that are quite important when people are, putting music on their property. And you sort of said, well, if you've got new music, you can probably put it up on your website, get some SEO happening. And as long as people can find your music, they can technically purchase the rights for it and clear it, and you can be on the next so-and-so show. That surprises me because I feel like the relationships that are already in place and the deal flow that's already happening is generally going to be eclipsing, even if the music isn't as good as that music they find online from an independent artist. So how does one do that effectively? You understand my question? Like, how do you actually make that work so people can trust your music?
From the right standpoint, is that what you're asking about?
The whole thing, not just rights, but like, oh, this music will sound as good on our speakers or for the audience as it does on this website. All the things that people worry about when they're clearing music from a source that they're unfamiliar with.
Right. It's a good question. I don't know where to start. Let's start about you brought up the rights part.
Let's look at the rights part. If I'm a music supervisor or if I'm on a team somewhere and someone says, should we use this, John Smith music or not? And I don't know them. I've never placed any music with them before. Love the music, but I don't know if there might be a sample on there that they don't know about, that we don't know about, right? Or maybe they're not with BMI, but they told me they're with BMI. And so now we've got, right? Those kinds of things.
So, okay, there's a lot there. I watched a workshop once with the music director, the music supervisor for Dance Moms. God, he's a great guy. He talked about several things and said, one thing is, if he's looking for, he looks everywhere for music, right? And he's looking all over the place.
Yep.
If he finds out that you've submitted him a piece of music that is with Jingle Punk's library and Warner Chappell and 5 different of the libraries, you're gone. He doesn't want that. He wants something that's more exclusive. So if you can give yourself a look that you're not in 25 different libraries, but this is where you can get my content, I think it presents a safer picture. Not that find me in these 12 different libraries, because when that episode hits a YouTube watermark problem and they all start going, hey, wait, that's in my library, that's in my library, you're blackballed, you're gone. All your music's gone. Yeah. So I think that if you present yourself in my music's exclusive to right here, and you are welcome to license it from me, I think that's a safer way to do it, which is kind of what we did. We used a company called Source Audio, which is a great search engine, and that gives confidence in that at least we're investing in our library. We're not just putting up a WordPress site, which you could totally do, but we chose a great search engine. Our metadata is strong, and you can only find our music from us. And I think that presents a better picture for somebody searching for music. So that's one. I think that if, right away, if you can't produce your pieces of music online to visually show BMI, ASCAP publishing, if you don't present those pieces of metadata somehow, they're not going to be interested either. There's a site called Ben Sounds. The site drives me crazy. If you Google royalty-free sounds, this guy's music pops up number 1. I don't know what the hell
he runs the SEO for whatever that. Yeah.
Oh my God! And he's only got like 100 and something pieces of music. Maybe it's more now, but there's no information on it. There's no information.
So you won't touch it.
I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
If you can show me right away that you understand that there are performance rights involved here, then that's gonna give me a better sense of safety to use your music.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It does. In other words, the way I would translate that, and particularly, like, I'm getting the sense there's a nice mix of folks on here. There's some producers, there's some artists, there's some people that are probably in those 2 camps primarily. So, and then some folks from studios. So what I'm taking from that is, if you're trying to get your music licensed, whether you're a studio creating that, or you're an artist, or you're a producer, or you're making beats or whatever, presenting your music on your website in such a way that it feels from the outside that this is really the only place that you can get this music, and it's unique. It's something. I think what you were dancing around but didn't actually say was music supervisors, have an egotistical investment in finding music.
Oh,
they
yeah.
like to be that person that says, you guys have never heard this shit before, but check this out, and they press play. That's what makes their day. So if they find your site and they go, oh my God, it fits. It's not like coming out of like complete left field, but it's just left of center. It's just different enough that it's like, it's something hip.
Yeah.
That's a value. That sort of counterbalances in a way I've never worked with these guys before. So I don't have that track record that makes me feel warm and cozy about, clearing a lot of stuff. But I think if it's something that's unique and it's something that's strong and is a kind of a rarity for them, that can definitely be valued.
Can you see this?
I'm looking at your, is it
Yeah,
your metadata? Nice.
that's our library page right there.
Nice.
And, it's nothing, it's not rocket science. It's,
Yep.
we put some good metadata using SoundMiner in. And so when you look at this and you see that we're writing, we have composer splits. And if you want to, we've got the publishing information there as well. Really, I just wanted to show off my Ecamm setup. Really, that was the only
You're
reason.
like, click.
But somebody looking at this would go, yeah, you guys, I feel safe going with you guys.
Gorgeous. Let me ask something that might be interesting, and you guys can definitely ask questions about this stuff as well. If I'm an artist and I can get a certain amount of a song done at my home studio, but I know there's parts of it that I probably need to have done somewhere else. And I know I need that to happen, but there's kind of a pandemic happening. Maybe I don't exactly know how to do that. Are there ways to work remotely with artists that allow them to track, say, the vocal or maybe a demo version of the track or something, fly that over to you guys, and then you can open it up and say, yeah, we can make this sound sort of professional and licensable within 48 hours? Is that something you guys do or that you think works?
It is. You want to talk about that, Colton?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with a few artists that are in different states, and a lot of times what I'll do if it's a full production, like I'll talk with them and see like what we're going for, what the end goal is. I'll start something for them to write to, or if they've already written the song, I'll have them send me an acapella and I build around that and just get like a scratch version for them to go and track their vocals to. And so it's a lot of back and forth. So yeah, I'll send it to them. They'll record their vocals, send it back to me. I finish the production, I mix it. And then after I see like where we're at, then that's when I'll start making suggestions on like, okay, you should redo this part, add this here, do this. I mean, that's pretty much the process. It's a lot of back and forth, and it can get confusing working with people. A lot of people use different terms for what they want. You got to learn how to talk to the person. You have to make sure that the files that you send and that you receive are clean files, and they're not like, I always ask for unprocessed, uncut files, as people tend to chop things off, and it's like, words are cut out and there's clicks and pops. You gotta have a set of guidelines kind of up front, so they know.
How do you do that if someone hasn't done this before? How do you sort of explain that to them and say, here's what you want to send me, and here's how to do it?
I usually just call them and talk to them, and walk them through it, and then like try
what
to
an answer.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to do it.
I mean, yeah, because sometimes you're not going to know necessarily what questions are unclear to that person if you don't talk to them first.
Yeah, you have to try to get a grasp of what they understand and what they don't understand, and then figure out how to walk them through what they don't understand.
Right.
I mean, it's a weird thing. Everybody wants to do the online collaboration. One of my sons is a bass player in Nashville. And so he called me one day. He goes, hey, man, we're trying to do this thing where this guy's got his drum set mic'd up in his house. And I want to just take all 8 of those tracks and stream them in and put them in my DAW. So I said, well, okay. We started talking about it for a while. I said, well, wait a minute. He's got the drums. He's got the mics. He's mic'd them up. He's ready to go. You just want to record them on your DAW? Stop. There's no reason to do that.
Sure.
Well, but that's
it would be cool.
We want to remote record. No. At that point, there's no purpose in that.
Yeah.
Now, when I do these voiceover sessions with these voiceover artists, it's the same thing. They could record the things there, right? At McDonald's, we blah blah blah. The voiceover artist is doing it, and they could record it on their end.
Yep.
The reason we want to have a Source Connect session is because we want to record it while you're doing it, because we want to chop it up real quick. We want to edit it really quick. I think that if Colton, if Colton was producing a singer,
yep,
and they've got the track, what he really needs to be able to do is produce the singer remotely. It may not be about trying to grab the track remotely, because maybe they could do that there, but he needs to hear the clear sound. I want to hear the vocal. I want to hear the performance. I don't want to hear it over the phone or hear it over Zoom. I want to hear this clearly because I want to be able to produce you. but they still could record
on the
it
fly in real time. Hey, try it like
Right.
this. Back up from the mic a little bit.
Yeah.
Project a little bit more, whatever it is you're sort of.
Yeah, and we Colton and I got involved in this as well. Trying to find how can we do this remote thing, and we after we kind of did one, was like, well, yeah, okay, we did it, but I don't think that's helpful. I mean, yeah, we did it, but I'm not sure that that's gonna. Why the hell we do it?
Right.
I mean, I can make this hot dog turn. I don't know what I was going to say. I can make a green hot dog, but at the end of the day, do you want to eat a green hot dog? No, I don't. I just want a regular hot dog, right? I mean, I can do it, but why do it?
Yep.
That was a dumb analogy.
That was a great analogy. Nobody wants to eat a green hot dog, and that's 100%.
Nobody wants a green hot dog.
Ben, thank you for swinging in. So Rizzieri has a question.
I was just reading that.
That basically, I think what you're asking, Riz, is if you're trying to get a PRO to affiliation from Chile, from what I understand, you're going to have a PRO that applies to North America or the United States, and you're going to have probably a PRO in Chile, and I don't know what the name of that would be personally, but it's probably something specific in Chile that's sort of the Chilean version of the BMI or ASCAP. Does that sound right to you?
I'm looking it up as fast as I can, and I'm not finding it.
SCD. Okay, so that would be.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that's probably, they probably have a website. They probably have a person that can answer the phone, or an email or whatever, and walk you through it and say, yeah. So here's what the process is. Here's what it costs, or but you don't like how they manage it. Okay, then. If they're the only one, there may be others. It's kind of country by country. Some countries have lots like we do. Like we've got CSAC, ASCAP, BMI. There may be others that I'm not aware of, but those are the three biggies.
I think that's
so. If you don't like CSAC, you can work with BMI. If you don't like BMI, you can work on ASCAP. If it's the only one, brother, then it's the only one. That's as far as I know. If you want the ability to get performance revenue, meaning if your music's on TV or film, whatever, there's one team in town. Unfortunately, they may take advantage of that fact, but if that's the only one, that's the only one.
Well, Riz, can you be a member of the US PRO like ASCAP or BMI? I mean, you can be, right?
Sure.
Why can't he be?
No, you could. It just means that would mean that the only rights he's getting are the ones that are pertinent to their territories.
Right. Like I know there's a reciprocal relationship with, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC with everybody else. So
with everybody else.
Right. So I make a piece of music. It airs in a show that aired on Discovery Network. So that's ASCAP or BMI. It's a U.S. performance, right? And then it plays in Denmark. That I receive a BMI or ASCAP royalty from that performance.
Yeah, you see where it goes, Riz. In other words, one way or another, if your music gets played in Chile, this company that you're referring to is going to be involved, but maybe you're going to be more comfortable with the terms and the situation if you have an affiliation with, say, BMI instead of this place directly. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
I would totally do it.
I would too.
I would go with ASCAP. BMI has an ugly publishing company fee. It's like $250. ASCAP, I think, what is it, Colton? $35, something like that.
For writer and up, it's $50 for publishing.
Yeah, and then and register your music with them so that if you sent something to a U.S. production company, and when they ask for the cue sheet information, I would just give them all of that. Give them the U.S. the ASCAP or BMI information.
So Goda has a really, really cool sort of version of that. So he's saying that if you just have a US PRO like BMI, let's say ASCAP, and then you can put in that agreement, hey, you guys, I'm going to get my performance royalties from you for everyone except, say, my country here in Mexico, and then I'm going to choose SECM for Mexico. Are there multiple ones in Mexico, Goda, or is it just them? Because it sounds like you're happy with them. So, And also my second question would be, what advantage do you have in using that PRO for Mexico if presumably ASCAP or whoever would use them anyway? Okay. So there's multiple ones in Mexico, SGAE, and you have a preference. So you become a little more picky with the one that you're using in Mexico, and then.
Well, some of that may be the signatory status of the network that they're in. For example, Home and Garden Television here is not a signatory of ASCAP or BMI. So if your music is bound to have that performance rights, you can't put the music on there. You have to give an exclusion or whatever to that. So I would guess, and if I say anything wrong here, I'm talking off the top of my head, I'm guessing, but I would guess that if you're in Mexico, you're getting music placed on Mexican networks, on Hispanic networks that are SACM signatories, then you want to have your music with them, because I would think you would get a better rate and placement and payback rather than to have to come around and say, does your network do a reciprocal relationship with ASCAP or BMI? You see what I mean?
Yep.
I'm guessing that it lives somewhere in that.
Okay. So basically that PRO just serves you better in that Mexican market. It's better. Maybe it's more recognized. It's more used on contracts. So you get a better ROI for working with them versus whatever the. Yeah.
Right. So if I knew I was going to work on a show that was in a worldwide country, I would go and find, if I was going to write brand new music, I would probably go and see if I could get the music under that performing rights organization.
Right. So one more question that I wanted to make sure that we get, and you guys, like, another thing that I think would be cool for I hear a lot of artists on you now, and I feel like there's a lot of talent there, vocal talent. There's a lot of songwriting talent. It's not necessarily that the music that's being performed is sort of like broadcast ready yet. And so I one of the reasons that I asked what I asked a couple minutes ago is, like, if you guys on You Now want to get your music professionally produced, or maybe you have half of it where you like it, but you'd like sort of a sounding board to help you do that. And also, if you want to be able to communicate or collaborate with someone that's actually getting music used in TV and film and knows what the F they're doing and is trustworthy, it's so important to me, and it's so important across this industry, that someone be trustworthy and have some experience and have the right intentions. So, if you're looking for someone that can help you do that, I feel good about, you guys knowing about these guys. Not the least of which is because you guys have brought in artists over this pandemic period and said, like, look, come in and track a song, don't worry about it. Like, you guys have already shown, a lot of empathy and a lot of sort of like big picture thinking in terms of how you work with people. So if there's people on You Now that are trying to get something solved on the production level, I think you guys are someone that I would feel comfortable saying, like, at least look at their website, check them out. You guys are good people, and you've done it for a while. So I wanted to make sure you guys know that, those of you that are on.
Sweet.
For sure. Yeah.
We're glad to help out. We love talking about stuff, and we're glad to help people out. I mean, we have to do that with each other. It's the best way to build relationships, and we learn from talking about it as well. We really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Revenue streams. One thing I want to talk about is for those studios or creators that are trying to figure out how they're going to make the next 6 months work, how they're going to make the next 12 months work from their music. One of the things I love about what you guys have done is, you're not afraid to say, I don't know, maybe we can do this. Let's try that. Well, that didn't work. Let's try this. That kind of worked. Maybe we can do it this way. Oh, that works better.
Oh yeah. We're good at failing.
Most studios are very conservative. And right now, especially, I think they're probably, they're too conservative. They're too used to doing things a certain way that worked 6 months ago, perhaps. But I think we're in a new world. So what are some alternative revenue streams or ways of finding or testing revenue streams that you guys have done that people watching could possibly benefit from?
What do you think, Colton?
Well, I was actually about to say that I have to head out.
No.
I have to.
Wow.
Yeah.
So playing
I
hard
mean,
to get is a good revenue
yeah,
stream.
that's how it is.
Colton's
Colton
like,
is
yo, I got it.
he's mixing an ESPN special right now.
I am. I have to
Yeah.
have it done by the end of the day. So
Yeah,
Love
so
it.
he's
I'm
up
glad.
against
We
it.
love deadlines, so good. That's awesome. We appreciate your time, man.
yeah, I'm glad. I'm sorry I had to cut out on that one.
Did
Not at
you
all, not at
see
all.
what somebody said asking about the cute guy with all the keyboards? Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
I saw it, but I was, I
I
was
think
like,
it said
wow.
guitars.
It's a
I think it
good
said guitars
question.
instead of keyboards. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're into the guitars.
I got plenty of-
Probably the guitars.
He's single, ladies. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I will see you
Thank you,
later.
Colton. All
Thanks
right,
for
brother.
having
See you, brother.
Absolutely. So what are you guys doing? What have you guys been figuring out?
One thing I would do if I was a studio, and so if let's pretend that I had a studio. If I had been spending the last year tracking bands, the first thing I would do is I'd call up all those recordings and I would find out, how do those beats sound? Man, those drummers that you had in here, how do those beats sound? If they sound good, I'd start extracting those beats. I'd get in touch with the drummers and say, let me do some revenue splitting with you, 50-50. Let's put these things everywhere, loop masters everywhere we can. If your tracking is good and solid and the drummer's time was good, if you've got any content there, man, I'd start pulling it right away. I mean, that sounds crazy, but there's lots of crappy loops out there. So I mean, everybody can join in, right? I mean, I hate to say it like that, but there's loops everywhere. I mean, I go to Splice every day to find stuff. I would start pulling that. I would, if you've got a band that you've had in and maybe they've had, and I don't mean this to sound negative. If it's some band that's just popped and they got a record company behind them, I would not do what I'm about to say. You got a band that came in, they recorded a project, they sold 1,000 copies of something, they're just sitting there. I would listen back to it for an instrumental. If you like the way the instrumental sounds, I'd go to the band and say, tell you what, let's strike a deal. You guys be the writer. My studio becomes the publisher. Let's see if we can get some placement on some of your instrumentals. I'd stick that stuff on MusicBed or some different libraries and see if you can get any play off of that. You just never know. What sounds like, once you strip the vocals off of something, you had maybe some band came in and the song is some love song for some guy whose heart was broken and he's miserable. And you think this is the biggest cheeseball song ever. You strip that out and you're like, I got a really nice instrumental bed here.
Yep.
And then go to the band and say, hey, who's the songwriters? Let's partner up, and then they have some skin in the game too. And maybe they'll help you get that going. I would take the content that you've got right now. What can you repurpose? What do you have? And don't just do it on your own. Offer that as well to the people who did that with you. I mean, the drummer made the loops, right? Yeah, it's my drums, it's my studios, my mics. Yeah, but that drummer had some contribution there. So get together and see if y'all can make some drum loops.
That's right.
I would.
Yeah, Christine, we got partnered about I think 4 weeks ago. We were talking about it at the beginning of the stream. So thank you for noticing.
Nice.
Yeah, we're super stoked. It reminds me of something that like I was, talking to some of our, thank you. I appreciate that. When you're looking at getting songs used in picture against picture, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, thank you. The less that's going on, the easier it is to put that behind the story. And so if you pull the vocals and you have what's known as an instrumental track, then the likelihood of that vocal clashing with whatever's going on rhythmically, melodically, the sentiment of it is zero because it's gone.
Yep.
And you made a really good point too. If you pull everything else out but the beat, just the rhythm, the tempo, the pulse of it, that can be super versatile.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So it's almost like counterintuitive for people that create music, but the most minimal version of it a lot of times is the most useful when you're trying to use music against picture, because it's the most universal for what could be used to tell this story and that story and another story. The less that's going on, the less likely that something doesn't quite fit the cadence of what's going on, or it clashes with an important word, or it's too high up in the scale and it's confusing, or it's the minimal versions of that stuff can be really, really useful.
Right. I agree.
for getting
And I
it
mean,
placed.
someone's going to talk over it. I mean, unless you, there's just, in this production music world, somebody's going to be talking over what you've done. And so you need to get some of that stuff out of the way and just make a nice smooth bed of it.
What else for revenue streams? What crazy stuff have you guys tried?
You know, I was convinced a year ago that we need to get into video game audio. So I spent, I mean, every waking moment looking at every tutorial on Udemy and everywhere I could find on the Unreal Engine and the Unity Engine. And I got hooked on Unreal and made my own farting game, which was just, it's really a work of art. It's got like 3 levels and
A work of farts.
it's a work of art. Yeah. We had a fart artist come in. He said, I can do this. I was like,
and they're not cheap.
He was not cheap. He really was not cheap. And
from what I hear.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean,
Christine's
from the silent but deadlies to the nuclears. I mean, it was incredible. But the point was that I wanted to learn Unreal because I just, I like sound design. And so I wanted to learn how to do it. And as I got deeper and deeper into it, it was like, wow, this is spatial design. This is this is coding. This is, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I still want to finish that project. But
it became this like wormhole that you never quite.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was deep. Yeah. But because of that, I've learned so much more just about sound design. You ever heard of GameCon?
You ever heard of GameCon?
No.
There's a conference for game audio called GameCon. I think it's still happening. Last time I saw it floating around online, I went a couple of times. Paul something, I think is the guy who runs it, and it's just game audio, and it is a massive, massive, massive world.
I'm totally checking that out.
You see it?
Yeah. Look. Yeah.
Good dude. The guy who runs it. So, if
and
you're interested, I'll connect you with him.
I think that, we started then making packs for Unreal. So we made a couple of $100 on just a stupid sound effects pack of some guns that we went and fired. Yeah. And you know, without knowing how Unreal worked, we couldn't have made the packs. We made the packs. We made them the right way. We had them coded right. And so we started making some money. And every meeting that we have, like, hey, we need to make some more packs. We did some music packs, some gun packs. And there's another revenue stream. So if you were a studio and you had some crazy weirdo sounds and you wanted to put them out, you just never know what people are going to take.
What else?
Well, since we're in the TV world, we've been making tons of sound effects. We bought some Zoom H6s and everybody went home and flushed their toilets. And then everybody came back and said, hey man, I recorded my toilet. Like, okay, no more recording toilets. We're done with this.
Just like organically, you all went like, I wanted to test it out. So I went straight for the toilet.
I'm telling you, there's an experiment somewhere. Hand 100 people.
Know, man, there's this kind of weird theme that's emerging.
I know. It's really strange. It's really weird. I know. Of the fart thing. But Christine says, like, why not burp? I see maybe that the evil guys are burpers and then the hero's the farter. And this could be a new thing. Like, see, he goes around, he gathers up broccoli and things like that, and he builds up the indents.
Yeah. There's bean wars. There's like a whole thing.
Well, see, and I learned how to make my own state engine. Do you know what that means?
No.
Well, is your character walking or running or farting or dying or falling yeah. And so I learned how to make this whole state engine, and Unreal is like, I know how to do this now. I know what this term means. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. I would, if I were a studio and had bands in and everybody was starting to fall apart, and I was not in Knoxville because I don't want you doing this in Knoxville, I would start reaching out for voiceover work because one, you can charge more. So I always say $50 an hour. I don't know why. I mean,
using source audio or someone walking
or just coming into the place. I mean, people will still, you can have somebody one-on-one. You can come in right now.
Sure.
Yeah. And you know, I don't know what other people's smaller studio rates are, but I always throw this $50 rate around because it seems like where we always land when people come in saying, oh my gosh, I can't afford to do it. Can you do it for $50 an hour? Well, okay, we'll do that.
Right.
But for a voiceover session, you're talking about $75, $100, $125 an hour. And that's good work. The pressure's higher, the pressure's harder. You got a little more to do. But if you can pick up some voiceover work, man, that's killer work. Find some ad agencies in your area, or find some industrial, like we have Alcoa Aluminum is here, and Denso Manufacturing is here, and they do high-end things, and they like to use voiceovers. They found some local people, and we've brought them in. And we've been able to charge pretty well. We found an ad agency, and they like to sometimes bring in local talent in, and we have them here, and we're able to charge a good rate for that. So, it's sort of thinking past the band rate and the tracking rate and looking into, what's a higher end rate, voiceover work, and maybe just some scoring work, maybe, ad music is fun, and it pays really well. So it could be that you've got a local commercial and somebody will say, hey man, I've got $1,000. Can you make something? It might be worth you to get a couple musicians in, track them for a couple hours, and make a nice original bed for something like that. You never know.
Right. So moving into making music for commercials.
Yep.
Doing some voiceover work.
Yep.
Probably for a decent sized studio, everything you have is going to be good enough in terms of your setup to be able to provide that.
I also would, and I know this is a weird, you have to have a heart for doing this, I think, but my son is a 15-year-old pitching monster, and I pay $45 for a 30-minute pitching lesson every week. Now, where you are, that's probably not, that's probably cheap but that's $45 for a pitching lesson, right? So you start a class, you start some lessons for maybe some older high school students, juniors and seniors, and you do a couple of, either do it through Zoom, or you bring them in, or a one-on-one, or you do some Zoom lessons. And for a parent, people are looking for things for their kids to do right now,
right? Especially summertime.
Yeah. So, what I'm saying is, I paid 45 minutes for a 30-minute lesson. If your studio rate's $50 an hour, and you could get a couple of kids on a Zoom call to do some teaching, why not, man? You're getting better than your rate, and you're sharing some of your knowledge. And I'm telling you, every time I work with somebody and start teaching something, I start learning more stuff. Like, oh, I forgot I even knew that.
That's a really good idea. I actually consulted for a studio in Cleveland, and there was this moment where we were kind of blending those two worlds. So you would have someone that would come in with a, rough demo of a vocal song they wanted to do, and they would come in, and as they were learning about the process, they'd be able to do certain pieces of it from home, and then they'd be able to say, well, in that case, let's start pitching this stuff now that you've showed me how that works. And so it was this sort of education. Now I want that service. Education. Now I want that. Now I want this.
Right.
So I think teaching people can sometimes be an opportunity for them to realize what else they might be interested in doing with that project, or doing on the next project. People don't necessarily know what you may take for granted that you already are familiar with in the studio.
Yeah. We started building contact instruments.
Right.
They're actually pretty good. We've called them up every now and then and used them. We did a toy piano and a melodica. And
have you done classes? Have you done outright Zoom classes and stuff like that?
Before the shutdown, we were doing group classes. So we'd have 10 kids in, and we'd spend 4 hours on a Saturday and just kind of walk through production processes and things like that. That was awesome. Right. I'm doing a one-on-one with a friend of mine's daughter right now to just kind of get the process down. Like in the first session, we spent the whole time trying to get her audio back to me. Pardon me. So I'm working with her to kind of get the system down. How does it feel when I take control of your screen, and when we're talking back and forth, and I'm trying to show her plugins? So I'm working with that now because I really want it to be right. I don't know that I want to do a bunch of one-on-ones, but if things keep not happening, I may start teaching my butt off. I like to do it. I'd like to do a bigger thing. What we have been doing is
it's not really economical to do it one-on-one, because you can't really charge someone like $250 an hour or whatever.
No, and that's why Colton and I are doing the tutorials like we're doing right now, because we're trying to get our tutorial chops ready. Because we may need to. One, I like giving the information that we've learned, but two, just when it's time, I want to be really good at it. I want it to look top-notch.
You want to have a sense of your voice with it.
I want to be able to do this and this, and then here's my iPad. Yay, yeah. See, that's what we're working on. All this.
Is that what is that?
That is the Korg Mono Poly, and I'm not feeding it in, but
no, I can't hear it.
That's killer. I love that. See. This is my setup
Um,
right here. I've got my push 2, and I've got a little the controller.
Wow, man.
I got some peanuts right here.
Sounds awesome.
I have a large.
I love that
needed
shot, man.
over here. I needed
overhead view, like Tori loves that. I love that too.
Oh yeah,
It looks
man.
good.
See that bundle
You look
of
like you're
cables.
an astronaut. Honestly,
You should see.
an astronaut.
Let's see.
Do this.
Yeah. See, it's just like that. It's not as good this way. See, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no, it just looks like you're.
Wait.
This can go quickly off the rails.
Oh yeah, see, I got
into.
a little production switcher going up there.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're doing right now, is trying to get it together. I got to tell you, earlier today, I because we want to do more live streaming and we want to do more with artists and stuff. And then I'm on Facebook today and I see this company who will remain nameless, even though I doubt they would come on here. And they were live streaming, and I was like, "Oh no, you're jerks! You're doing this before." They're local, and they had a band on. And I'm like,
I see. You mean like a studio that's doing it when they're
yes.
not?
And I was like, y'all suck for doing this before we're doing it. I'm mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that I was gonna chat about, but like, I think that's something that every studio is going through right now. Is okay, like, how do I interpret whatever regulations are supposed to be in effect, and also like, how far am I willing to bend the rules to keep my lights on, or whatever the rationale is, not to justify that people doing that,
right.
But like, everybody's got their own version of reality that they're trying to sort of
well, they obviously were in the same room together, right? But they were all split screen, so you didn't show them together. But then he's looking over at the guy talking to him like this, like, that's bull crap. I know you're not. I know you're right there.
You're not supposed to be doing that.
But then the other thing is that they were terrible. Like, they were dropping their mics. They were like, one guy's mic must have been 12 feet away because you could hear all the fan noise and everything going on and people burping and farting. Well, that's the game. But anyway, you could hear everything that was going on. It was terrible. And so that's where Colton and I are like, we're not doing this until we get this down. So this mic's sounding good. I'm good with that. My shots are looking good. I'm happy with all this. We're going to get this down. And then, of course, something else is going to happen. We're going to move on to the next.
Well, you guys should definitely check out their, your YouTube tutorials. You probably have about a dozen live streaming oriented Logic, OBS, all sorts of shit. They're more good. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to bring you on originally, because you guys are, what you're doing, but you also know how to explain stuff. And you have a good heart about it. You're trying to just explain it and help people understand. If you guys have any other final questions for Paul, this is such a great opportunity for you guys, whether you're an artist or you're trying to figure something out with your studio. Let us know if there's anything else we can answer for you. If you're trying to work on music, trying to understand kind of where things are headed.
I'm sorry I'm not East West, but I do have a subscription, so there you go. I do have a Composer Cloud, so I don't know if that helps.
Thank you, Tori. Tori's giving some props. Props, man. Wow, even more. What are you doing, Tori? You're crazy today. She's like, today. Who wants to pop on and talk to Paul, man? So no, that was great. I think that really helps. And I think for people that, this is going to be up on YouTube so people can see this again. And I'm going to send this to a bunch of studios. Sweet. And if they didn't see it today, I want them to be able to see it over the next few weeks and months and just have some other ideas and options.
Sounds great.
We wish you guys the absolute best. I think you're doing all the right things, and you're making a lot of good music, and we appreciate you guys popping on again, and get back to work, brother.
Glad to help out anytime. Tori, take care. It was great interacting with you, and Peter, man, just to hang in there, and appreciate what you're doing as well. It's a great service, and the stuff you're talking about, man, everybody needs to hear it.
Thank you so much, brother. And say thank you again to Colton, and anything else we can ever help you with moving forward, do not hesitate, brother.
We'll do it. All right. Thanks so much.
Hi, man. Peace. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Christine. It was good seeing you again. I remember you from last time. when the boys were on. Do you guys have any questions? Hopefully that was in the sweet spot between sort of like nerdy stuff and music stuff, and just introducing some stuff about studios. This stream is kind of dedicated to live streaming, music live streaming, but also I think more broadly just kind of what's happening in the music industry right now, and what can people do right now to respond to what's happening with the pandemic, with different opportunities and challenges that are happening, and how to sort of collaborate, how to work on music. Awesome. Right on, right on. So if you guys have questions about where the industry's headed, or how to work with studios, or things you're trying to do with your music, you guys can always pop on or ask us questions. Tori, can you post our Discord real fast? Just because that might be an easy way for people to connect with us during the week. Don't miss our stream on Friday. We're going to be talking with 7,000 Apart. They are they've been around for a minute, but I think they're newish to you now. Very, very cool artist that has a very interesting story. We're going to explore some of that on Friday with you guys and do some music reviews the way we do. What else are you guys trying to figure out? Let us know. Because this is really for you guys. So if you're trying to figure stuff out, drop it in our Discord. If you have music that you would like for us to consider for chatting with you about or helping with you in any way, let us know. Wishing you a good second half of your week. And Tori, thank you again for the fancy footwork this week. We were originally going to have East West Studios in Los Angeles here, or on this, I should say. We were going to be there today, and they couldn't do it just because this frickin' pandemic slows things down and makes us improvise stuff a lot. So that is what's coming up on Friday. What's up, Venus? So again, thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. And hope you have a next wonderful next couple of days. And we'll see you Friday, 10 a.m. PST. Peace out.